So Al, so you're going to, your course is starting in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's it about?
Starts on Saturday and goes through the August 14th. Well, we've got students who are interested in, as we frame the course, if we're ever going to get people to change behavior in these built environments, like cities, Philadelphia, New York, let's get them out to a place where there is a very thin human touch on the environment. Where you're really in nature, wilderness as much as possible. In fact, because we're there, it's not wilderness, it's backcountry. But let's look and see what it involves in terms of humans in those kinds of environments, what it takes to minimize impact, the consciousness that's raised about the awareness of the environment and the impact of human patterns of behavior. And if we can establish that and see what the Appalachian Mountain Club, the Dartmouth Outing Club, the various groups, state park leaders, all of these people will be speaking to the students. Then the idea is, okay, well, when we come back to these built environments where people feel very casual about throwing litter on the ground and say, well, what I do doesn't really matter, it doesn't make a difference. How we change that behavior, because obviously in these pristine environments and natural areas, it does make a difference, and people develop a different set of values and a different consciousness. So that's kind of the interesting thing that we're trying to establish.
That's really great. How many students are in your program?
We've got 10 students.
Great.
One's from environmental studies, but I think all the rest are our students in organizational dynamics. And it ranges from people who are Penn employees to a major in the U.S. Army.
Fantastic.
Who's interested in
And
this
you're teaching this with someone else?
Yeah, Sid Havley. Sid Havley.
Oh, okay,
from
Sid from down.
Right.
Yes, it sounds like a fascinating course. It really does.
We were talking, Dow was here a few days ago.
Oh, yeah,
came over for lunch, and Sid was there, and we talked about the things that we were doing, and they were really very excited about the programs and the development and this class and some of the other things, and they're really on top of this. They're really
we've been talking. I've been talking to a few people about the whole subject of the of sustainability and that sort of big idea that we had about taking West Philadelphia and trying to see whether we can, on a large scale, affect behavior using. You remember we were talking about with Dow.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to a lot of people. And people are really interested. I've been talking to Ira Harkavy over at the Netter Center.
Yeah, sure. I've spoken to Ira about this numerous times. He's engaged in it.
He's very engaged.
Yeah.
Trying to get that together with perhaps Fells, which has sort of graduate students ready to go. You guys, which have graduate students ready to go.
Right.
Trying to combine those efforts together would be. I think would be very interesting.
I'm on a panel at the Academy of Management on this topic. Okay. How do universities come together in multiple different ways, with communities in multiple different ways, to allow the community to develop itself? What and how and where and why does it work best? And that's a microcosm to moving to underdeveloped countries, because most of organization development is about corporate, where you go into a company and you work with them to move, and they give you a lot of money as a consultant, and all of the models and changes are about what happens in these kind of closed environments. There's very little known about what really goes on at the community level, and even less about what goes on in multiple cultures. Because how is the Middle East developing exactly? How is South America? How is China or Asia? I mean, there's almost no modular theory, because none of the people who created the field of organization development were from those places. They're all from here. And they all wrote the stuff with the corporate experience. And so that's one of the topics. So it really is appropriate.
So that sounds really interesting. You excited about your course?
Yeah, well, we're going to try to get it right this year, so you'll come along next year. And,
oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
I do backcountry.
Share your mountaineering experience.
Well, Ramin's sitting in on 501. Pretty soon he's going to apply for the program. And
well, no, but I mean, I know you've done some mountaineering, and that's that set of values of people who are in that environment. If we can begin to instill that in West Philadelphia about sort of the care, what it takes to, in a sense, have a sustainable approach to what one does with one's trash, what one does with one's energy, and
yeah, the notion of leaving no trace. It really is a very strong notion, and if you really sit down and think about it, even for experienced backcountry people, it takes special effort to realize what leaving no trace means, and that even includes sort of the color of what you wear. Because the color of what you wear disturbs the environment just as much as if you were to go and shake a tree. Well, if you're wearing an orange shirt walking through the trees, well, you've just changed the way the lifestyle of various animals and how they would behave.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as opposed to wearing, a green shirt where you would blend in more easily. So just those very basic things, and not that we can affect all of it. But thinking about it makes us, I think, more capable of handling what it takes place in a city and how we impact the environment.
And again, it's not always been done perfectly because we'll be on the top of Mount Washington. How are we going to get? How do people get there? Well, yes, they hike, but there's an auto road that brings people up. You can
Sure.
drive your own car. There's a cog railway. All of this stuff has an impact on the environment, and so the White Mountains have actually been talked about over the years as the place that people love, but has been, perhaps we have to be careful about it being loved to death.